Okay, so AEW and NXT next week are going at each other. Again, I don't have an allegiance to any company. I'll be watching both. I'll have my eyes glued to the screen next week. So just keep that in mind. There is no war between these companies. The networks don't care about, how many views they get as long as they get a good viewing. That's what Warner has said. That's what Universal has said. They're just happy to be happy that they have wrestling on their products. Again, stop the tribalism too. It's going to be great. We're going to have John Cena. We're going to have Paul Heyman. We're going to have Asuka. We're going to have Becky Lynch. It's going to be a good show next week. And I think, as a pro wrestling fan, we're being wined and dined and treated to great wrestling next week. And I know WWE is scrambling and turning up the heat because they want to compete with AEW. They want to draw bigger ratings. You don't think they don't talk around the cooler and all that? Same with AEW. That's why they went out and got Adam Copeland. That's why they're going to go get Mercedes Moné. That's why they're trying to sign that other Japanese star out of Stardom. That's why they're going to sign Sami Callihan, AEW's, because they need that. It draws ratings. Like I said, those sexy names that are coming from these bigger promotions are going to draw numbers. And again, when WWE puts John Cena or you bring in Paul Heyman, you bring in the big guns, you are going to draw ratings. That's just how this works. So at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, it's not a war. These network providers care about the views only. Really, it doesn't matter to us because most of the wrestling views don't count. Like, cable TV and satellite views count, where streaming TV and even streaming TV DVR views don't count. And a lot of people go and try to watch it live as it's happening through the sales of the 7 Cs on third-party sites, if you know what I mean. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But at the end of the day, just be a fan of wrestling, man. Next week's going to be good. Again, we may have Trick Williams coming in and Carmelo Hayes doing something stupid to him. Braun Breaker, you can't go wrong. We may have Brian Pillman Jr. We may have an announcement of the Dusty Rhodes Classic by Cody. Cody's going to be announcing something. So, again, like I said, and it's supposed to be groundbreaking and revolutionary to NXT. And there's just a lot of things that are going to be happening next week. So, and AEW's got a lot of announcements coming up soon, too. So, overall, guys, just be a fan of pro wrestling. And I would say, honestly, just go in with a clear mindset and just enjoy it. I enjoy all wrestling shows equally. I don't have favorites. Do I tend to lean to some of them? Sure. We all do. But don't shit on AEW and don't shit on WWE. This is good for the business. It'll put both of them on their toes, and we're going to see. And also, when it's all said and done, the national views don't really matter because half of those views are not being counted anyway. I love how people count these views, and I love how people like to sit here and say views matter when they really don't because they're not counting all the views. They're not counting streaming views. They're not counting the YouTube views. They're not counting the Rumble views. They're not counting, the Twitter views or the X views. They're not counting all that stuff, the social media views. If you put that all into a vacuum or all into one thing, you'll find out that the views are just bigger than we all know. You know what I mean? And then you'll have these wrestling channels and the dirt sheets trying to upsell us as there's a war because they want clickbaits and views at the end of the day. And at the end of the day, that just makes tribalism even worse. They talk about, these wrestling channels and all these channels talk about tribalism, and then they all go and clickbait and want this and want that. And it's like disgusting. They further the problem. We should all be enjoying wrestling. And that's what I try to install within my streams or within what I talk about is like, just enjoy it all. I like Impact. I like Ring of Honor. And I think these people that shit on those two products is just rude and disgusting. Again, enjoy wrestling. Be a wrestling fan next week. Go into it with with no mindset. And AEW is good too. Like, I don't know why we have this comparison, man. I hate having this comparison. I hate talking about both of these companies like they're competition. There is no war. When the Wednesday night wars were happening, WWE conceded because they were losing, yes, but that was a different era and different time. Now they're going for the jugular because they realize they have the views now. And AEW is trying to bounce back. It's a new era, and they're trying to bounce back. NXT's been bouncing back for a minute. I think, as wrestling fans, I think we should just all take a sigh of relief, a breath, and just be wrestling fans, man. Enjoy it. Enjoy Adam Copeland being over. I don't know why wrestling fans are mad about that. Adam Copeland, the rated R superstar over on AEW. You should be happy that wrestlers are getting more money to provide for their families. I think, hey, if it brings their love back into wrestling and they do better and they lead a roster over 5 years and they do the right things and they become a producer and they bring in new talent or an agent or whatever, it's great for the industry. I think wrestlers should be happy internally doing what they need to do. I think, people are upset that Daniel Bryan's retiring or semi-retiring and going to a part-time schedule, kind of like an AJ Styles, and people are reporting that wrong. And I think, honestly, at the end of the day, I really just will say this, is that wrestlers need to be happy. I think there is more opportunities in wrestling nowadays than there's ever been. And I think the days of competition is dead. I really think the dirt sheets, I really think these wrestling sites further this for clicks and views on purpose, and they incite in fights between wrestling fans. I think a lot of us as analysts do it on purpose because we think, hey, this will, raise the views, especially when we're talking about drama in these wrestling companies and things like that. I've been in the vortex of that too, myself, as a smaller wrestling channel trying to get myself somewhere, you know what I mean? And at the end of the day, be a wrestling fan, enjoy it. Next week, go in with an empty mindset and just embrace AEW and WWE. Enjoy it. A lot of people don't watch NXT. Now they are, and I've been watching NXT forever and a day. Same with AEW. Guys, a lot of these new people that are coming in weren't really NXT. They weren't really NXT people to begin with. They're there because they're watching John Cena, their favorites. They're not there really supporting the product. And it's the same with AEW. And the people that say AEW should fail is gross and disgusting. And the people that still say, oh, there's too many titles. Again, you don't know how business works. Business works when they have to sell Ring of Honor to try to get it on some type of television. I like kind of Ring of Honor, and I've always liked Ring of Honor. But again, I'm a hardcore wrestling fan. I'm a mark. At the end of the day, that's what people call me. So, again, enjoy wrestling. There is no competition. And again, ratings don't count. Next week, if I have to hear somebody talk about ratings to me after the fact, let's talk about the wrestling show. Let's have it out about these wrestling shows and who put on the better product next week in a good way, in a positive way. Spread positivity. Wrestling fans don't know that. Every wrestling fan wants to shit on everything. It's like CM Punk. Oh, WWE is going by the traction, but I don't think it's going to work out for them either. You know what I mean? I just don't see it with them either. But I digress. Anyway, my name is RevSauce TV. Guys, be positive in my comment section. Be positive. My thoughts of next week is this. I think both shows are going to turn out really good. I think they're going to be great. Just enjoy it. Anyway, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.